right, guys, we are back with more Yokai. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for more wacky, zany ghoulies and ghosts from the Japanese islands?
Is there a butthole involved?
I refuse to answer that question until we get into the meat of this this episode.
Ooh.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Chaotic Underground, where today we're
Hello, guys. My name is Steven.
I know.
Welcome to Chaotic Underground.
I'm terrified of AI, but I accidentally sound like one. It's awful. Born
yes,
into a
you
terrible
can find
role.
that in aisle 7.
Like imitate the self-checkout. Please insert payment. Like, oh my gosh. Anyways,
receipt.
If I didn't bully you in like the first minute of the episode, would it really be an episode?
no, you just bully me mercilessly throughout the episode. Like I'm just used to it at this point. But
I mean, it's not in the edit of our previous epised, but I said I was pretty savage to you in the edit. I'm like, ooh, I don't want people to think I'm a mean person, so I'm going to cut that out.
Z had a bad day, so he was like, Ryan, step aside. I've got this guy.
We're 2 minutes in and we're already derailed, yeah.
Hey, it's okay. You can use this for whatever little moments you want. But hey, it's another episode about my favorite thing, Yokai, the Japanese demons and ghosts and ghoulies that, you know, some people know, some people don't. We are talking about a specific Japanese ghost this week. It is one of the most popular, one of the most well-known yokai out there. So it's going to be something that we talk about throughout the entire episode. There's a lot to unpack, a lot to talk about, a lot to learn along the way about these wonderful creatures. And that is the ever so famous Kappa, or Kappa. And I don't really know what accent to put on it. So
Is that like Kappa?
yeah.
like the
Okay.
emote.
I feel like I've heard of it. I feel like I've heard of this, but I can't think in my brain why. I mean, obviously that's like a Greek letter, right?
Yes, it's a Greek letter as well.
But I feel like I've heard about it in this context.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
even if you're not a fan of Japanese culture, Japanese anime, whatever version of Japanese stuff you normally would absorb, Kappa have existed in some form or another, like even on a worldwide level, that people know it even without actually being into the culture. Kappa are literally these weird little green, mostly depicted as green, kind of turtle looking demons. Specifically, they hang out around water. So
Interesting.
So they're turtle people, basically.
sort of. We're gonna get into why that's correct and not correct at the same time.
Okay.
So I'll actually start with the appearance of a Kappa. Do you got something to say, buddy? You look like you got something to say.
Look, to be honest with you, I'm withholding everything until you can get some information out because we kind of royally messed with you at the beginning of the episode.
It's okay. It's all good.
I was just looking at like the Google search, and I mean, some of them look a little wacky, but some of them look like the cute little creatures in Princess Mononoke.
Yes. So this is actually something that has happened in modern times. Is Kappa are so popular, they have been adapted into many different visages and mascot characters and things like that. We'll go over some fun facts about Kappa at the end of the episode once I actually talk about what they are. So
That's when the butthole's gonna be easy.
all right, so let's start with a basic kind of translation of the name. Like the Kappa typically kind of translates to river child. Kappas are well known for inhabiting rivers and streams around the country, and sometimes in some cases sewers and wells. So kind of like where Zach and Ryan live most of the time.
I'll have you know, it's very dry out here in Utah.
Ryan and Z have a lot in common with Kappa. They're mostly homeless and live by rivers.
Mostly.
Mostly. See, you could be 100% homeless or mostly homeless.
Like a part-time homeless person. You know, some people have two jobs. You have
It's for character building.
you have
Yeah.
two economic statuses. So Kappa are like something of reptilian humanoid kind of creature. They usually have they're about the size of a human child. Like we're talking like somewhere around like 4 or 5 years old. That's how big they are. They are waterborne. They are fantastic swimmers. They are actually at their scariest in the water. It is actually said that if you are grabbed by a kappa in the water, you are pretty much dead. They will drag you down and drown you, which is one of the reasons why if you've ever seen a cool picture of a stream, you'll see a warning. A lot of times they use kappa as a like a mascot character, or at least some kind of depiction of don't let anybody swim here because you might drown.
Is this is that common in like Japan to like have kappa signs next to rivers and everything?
Absolutely.
And obviously, like they're being playful. I feel like they're not real kappas, are they?
I mean, there have been reports of kappa, all throughout the years. A lot of people have claimed to actually have seen them, met them, interacted with them over the years. But it is an easy way to also convince children, don't go swimming in the river without parents around, So,
yeah.
And yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ryan just pulled up a picture and put it in our Discord, and yeah, you're totally right. Yeah. I believe you.
I appreciate that. Good talk.
Turns out he did not make everything up on this episode.
To be fair, once we get to some of these other facts, you're going to start wondering if I am.
I don't know, man. Lastly, Yokai episode.
I love that
every word.
There was art to go with that. I love that there was art to go with the Shirime. So
merch coming soon.
I hope so. But the funny thing about the kappa is, while on land, though, they are terribly clumsy and not very capable. It's actually very easy to capture them, as a matter of fact. But they mostly are around during like the summer warm months and things like that. They actually are usually depicted as green, but they can also take on blue and reddish colors. So it's not uncommon to see that. They have no thumbs, and they have webbed hands and feet. So there's 4 digits with webbing between them. So this assists in their very good swimming technique. They have a turtle-like beak for a mouth. And then they are pretty much going to be covered in waterproof elastic skin. It's said to be, very smelly in the scent of fish.
Okay. And sorry to interrupt. I'm just curious. So this falls under the category of yokai. Like, do people believe that, like, is it like a wide thing in Japan, and that do they actually like fully believe in kappa? Like,
absolutely.
Are there like full on conspiracy theorists out there that are full on like the world's being run by kappa people?
No, okay, we're reaching there, buddy. That's America.
So is it? I mean, like, but no, seriously though, like, is it how people? I mean, if you bring it to our culture, is it like how some people believe in, I don't know, like Bigfoot? Like, I mean, it's like that same subset, like that they just believe in that there's these creatures that exist that we just aren't privy enough to see? Or is it more of like a spiritual thing where it's like how people believe in ghosts here, right?
So
like,
that's actually very much a good question. So in actuality, in the Shinto religion, kappa are viewed as a form of water god. They are actually typically given tribute to basically help with the rainy season, so their crops are healthy, their fields remain irrigated, things like that.
That makes sense.
Okay, look, you're breaking me up here.
I mean, we're not trying to break you up. We're not trying to break you up.
So
Steven.
for those that don't know why Ryan and Z are laughing, I do, because I have access to the Discord channel where Ryan continues to post wonderful and amazing art that he has found about our subject matter. One including a female kappa that has her titties all out. And so all he had to say to ruin my flow was, damn, look at them turtle titties.
Don't worry, we'll put it on the screen for you.
I hope so, because I don't want to sound like I'm just making up shit here, but I'm dead serious. I can see you found turtle titties. Like, kudos to you, I guess.
Subscribe to my turtle Patreon for more content.
All right, so yeah, they are kind of revered as water gods in a sense, to help with crops and water. Now, to get back to their description, they have elastic, waterproof skin that reeks of fish because they're waterborne and there's a lot of seawater. But they are supposedly the skin is removable as well, which is a terrifying concept.
What do you mean by that?
Like, is it like zipper? Like they unzip and they're like, "Ha ha!"
I don't know exactly because that's a very wide term. Like, could they just like tear it off like a horror movie? Like, just, here's my insides, or maybe it's a new version, like a snake skin.
I mean, it's not. It does sound like something that would definitely be in like a Guillermo del Toro movie.
Man, good shit. Yeah, absolutely terrifying. But I think probably the closest I would say is it's more kind of like the shedding of skin, like on a snake or other reptile.
Gotcha.
They have some great otherworldly features. One of those things is the fact that they have basically forearms that are connected underneath their shell, so that if you grab one arm and pull it, it will extend while the other arm contracts. So if you're trying to catch it, you can grab its arm and it'll be like whoop, and it'll just like stretch until the other arm will get much shorter.
Yeah.
So
but I'm just still thinking about them taking off their skin. I just imagine like one of them comes up out of the water and it's like and just unzips, and it's like Tilda Swinton just comes out and just like walks up the beach.
Like, what
why does it have to be
right?
Tilda Swinton?
I don't know. Like, are you comparing Tilda Swinton to like a gross aquatic reptilian creature?
No, but she does have certain characteristics that just make me think she zips up in a turtle suit at night.
Yeah, not human, is what we're talking about. No offense, because I think because I love Tilda Swinton. I think she's beautiful, but she does have something
Look at the backtracking.
About her.
Look at the backtracking.
Hey, you know what? I'm attracted to weird things, man, and don't keep
that explains your refrigerator. All right. So the next thing is this is okay. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry. We'll insert some laughs there.
I am about to please, thank you. I appreciate the loss of reaction to that joke. But the most important thing about the anatomy, the biology, the makeup of a kappa is the fact that they have 3 anuses, so they can be extremely flatulent and can fart stinkier and louder than anyone else.
You had my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
So yes, this is actually documented that kappa have 3 anuses, so that they can.
Okay, Steven, I'm gonna let you finish real quick, but so that means they have 3 anuses. Okay, yep. So that means one of a few things could have happened here. So one, they exist, and somebody stumbled onto them and somehow got one to consent so they could study their 3 anuses to find out.
I mean, I think consent is kind of an assumption on your part.
I mean, I'd like to assume that everybody's a good person, but I know that's not true. So, but 2, this is made up, and then somebody wrote lore that they have 3 anuses.
That's more where my mind was at.
Yeah. Or 3, somebody drew them and drew 3 anuses on it.
So basically your argument is most likely that this is either really bizarre fan fiction or really bizarre porn.
Yes.
No. Yeah.
Or very bizarre biology, because I'm not seeing biologically how that would work. Is it just like when you know like you're on a putt course and you have like the choice of 3 holes and you don't know which one it's going to come out of in the end?
Well, you know what, Doc? You got me there. I don't know. I do not know.
I mean, maybe the guy who discovered that echidnas had 5 dicks found out that is the same guy. Maybe he's just really into weird animal physiology or yokai physiology. I don't know, man.
That's a thing?
Yeah, echidna. Yeah, not to like shift the episode, but yeah, echidnas have 5 penises.
Man, yeah. Can you imagine being the college graduate who's assigned that research project?
That's why they call him Knuckles.
That's why they call them Knuckles. More moose knuckles.
Oh my god. All right. So now that I've given you enough time to really just ride that awkward biology into the sunset with your jokes, we'll get to stop. See, you're making me laugh.
You're a good friend.
I appreciate that.
You're a good friend. Not all heroes wear capes.
I barely wear pants. The most important part of their appearance, their biology, is actually they have a dish-like depression on the top of their head that is filled with water. And as a matter of fact, this is extremely important because it's essentially what gives them their powers and their abilities. And if it dries up, they are either immobilized or sometimes dead. It really depends on differing accounts.
Okay,
So,
yeah, I noticed that weird little like cup in their head in the pictures, and I didn't know what the lore around that was.
Yeah, so this is actually probably the most important part of their anatomy and just legend in general.
After the three buttholes, but yeah,
the three buttholes I mainly threw in there for fun, but also because it's in there. Like in every bit of research I've done on this subject, it's mentioned. It feels like that.
So this is Steven's fan fiction.
Look, no, I have a whole slew of fan fiction, but no Kappa.
No.
Let's see here. So this is let's move on from the anatomy, the biology. Are you trying to look up the three buttholes thing?
No.
Okay.
One thing I did notice is every Kappa like picture that so far that we've seen, they seem to have something with cucumbers.
Yes, as a matter of fact, now that I've gotten through the biology and everything like that, the basic appearance. And...
Yeah, stop skipping ahead, Z. Jeez.
Sorry.
No, it's a good question. It's a great question. So this is we're going to get into a little bit of the nature of Kappa. Kappa are unique creatures, but I will go ahead and start with the part that you want to know about, and that is the fact that the Kappa have a specific diet that is their favorite. They'll eat damn near anything because they're opportunists. They love food and eating.
They obviously have a very intricate digestive system.
Oh yes, absolutely. And you're going to understand why. So there's two things that Kappa love to eat more than anything. The first thing is cucumbers. As a matter of fact, cucumbers is what a lot of times villagers and people would offer as tribute to the Kappa. They would actually write their family name on cucumbers and put them on the bank of a river or float it down the river in hopes that a Kappa would grab the cucumber and see the family name. And once they've ingested the cucumber, they decide to not kill anybody from that family. This is just one case of it. So, but overall, Kappa love cucumbers. That is the main thing. But the other thing they love to eat is ass.
Wait,
I called it.
Wait, hold the phone. Okay. Are you being facetious?
No,
about
I'm
this
not.
It's a buffet on every single Kappa, man.
Buffet or buttfay? Oh my God! Insert laugh track, please.
All right, Dad. No, to be more specific, because I love actually selling it that way because it actually is really funny. But the truth of the matter is, there's actually lore behind this. They love human innards, specifically anuses from humans, and there is a reason for that, because there is a specific mythical piece of meat located right inside the anus in a human called the
prostate.
No, that's I'm guessing that's what it's really based on, if I had to guess anything. But it's called the I wrote it down here. Here it is. Shiri Kodama, and it's a mythical piece of meat within humans that's just inside the anus and is said to house the human soul.
Oh yeah, definitely the prostate.
Yeah. So.
yeah, that's the prostate. Yep.
Yeah.
So the cucumber diet thing. So when I go to like my favorite sushi joint and I order Kappa rolls, which is a cucumber roll, that's what it's referencing. These yokai.
Kappa maki. Yes.
Kappa maki.
Yes, it is. Cool. It is specifically named that because Kappas love cucumbers.
That is so cool.
Yes.
Who would have thought that one of my favorite foods gets named after a 3-anus ass-eating frog turtle man?
Yeah,
woman.
So this gets into some more stuff. We've gotten past the eating ass thing, all right. But
you have
Kappa are innately very stubborn and honorable creatures. They are mischievous. They have a lot of these kind of fun prankster qualities. They are well known for sneaking up and farting very loudly, just to shock people.
Really? Wait. Like, so while they're in the water or while they're on land?
Typically
on land. Okay, so they're a little clumsy on land though. So like in my head canon, they're like hobbling towards somebody. They fart and try to run away into the bushes, but trip and just fall. And you just hear them just be like, "Fuck, my knee," or something. Like
so
that's. Can you explain this image to Steven, where it seems like a common defense against yokai was farting as well?
Yes, actually, this is a pretty common way to repel yokai. Essentially, it's a farting contest. I wish I was joking when I said that out loud, but it is genuinely that kind of thing. You can fart contest to Kappa away. So it's actually a little bit more complicated than that, and so I get to continue along here. So Kappa are, like I said, honorable creatures. They like games of skill. They like competitions, and as a matter of fact, they if you can best a Kappa in any kind of competition or battle of any kind of sense, they are bound by their own honor to befriend you and be loyal to you for the rest of their lives.
So if you outfart the Kappa, you get a sidekick.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my god, it's like a Pokemon, but
yes.
This is great. This is, I think, I don't know. Move over, Shirimi. I think I have a new favorite yokai.
So this is actually a pretty common thing. There's another way. So as they love games of skill and being mischievous, you can actually, in their stories of people challenging Kappa to games of shogi, it is actually written that they enjoy games of shogi. They like sumo wrestling, and you could. There are stories of people challenging them to sumo wrestling matches.
Okay.
But the most common story that is told about Kappa in terms of defeating them and kind of it sounds terrible, but it's like kind of forcing them into servitude is you have to trick them. As honorable creatures, it is impolite to not return a bow. So if you can trick a Kappa into returning a bow that is very deep, they would then dump the water from the dish on their head and would be immobilized and unable to fight back. And so basically what happens is they return the bow, the water falls out, they're immobilized, and then they would basically the person would save them by putting water from their river back in their dish, and then they would, of course, have bested the Kappa, and so now the Kappa is their friend and loyal companion. And not in the traditional sense like they're going to follow them around like Pikachu or anything like that. It's they would show up and deliver fish to families,
have a couple of beers, watch the game every Saturday.
Absolutely.
So has there been any like Kappa sightings at all? Like have people like claimed they've seen Kappa?
Countless people have claimed to seen Kappa. There are plenty of stories of people that have claimed to have befriended them. Now, this is also, it's tough to prove because technically a yokai can turn invisible at any point.
Really?
Yeah, yokai are not meant to be seen. They are only seen if they want to be seen. According to the legends anyway. So it's really kind of tough to say one way or another. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. Ryan keeps shoving pictures of butts and Kappas into our faces.
This last one is pretty impressive. It's literally a bow set up in a trap with a man bent over showing his ass to a Kappa in front of the trap.
And his friends are like egging him on, being like, "Yeah, Frank, look at Frank, dude. Frank's the GOAT."
I imagine this was like a popular pastime for like young, like you'd be like, "Oh man, let's go jump off that bridge down by the river, and that's like our cool, like we did it, we're brave." But like in feudal Japan, it was like, let's go down to the river and try to get the Kappa to eat our ass, but we'll trap it.
It's just bored people in the Edo period. Like, man, I could really have my ass eaten right now. Let's go down to the river.
Do yokai ever conflict with other yokai at all?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of stories of that throughout the history of yokai. There's even a great yokai war.
What? There's a yokai war?
Episode
yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that another time. It's something I got to cover because there's also a night each year where the yokai band together and parade through the country. And it is one of the few times you can see all yokai.
Let's just say, in the Great Yokai War, the Shirame lost. he had no combat skills whatsoever.
So Steven, I just love that you bring up, there's the yokai night where they all wander the streets. There's the Great Yokai War. It's legendary.
What do you think he's building up to? It's like the MCU, man. He's giving the backstories before we get Avengers.
The first two yokai had to deal with buttholes.
Look, I wanted to start out on some fun just legends that people can really enjoy and engage with and get to, they don't have to feel so like weighted down by the history and the legends and the big stuff. Like the Kappa is a big deal in the world of yokai. It's the most well known.
Much like the Kappa in the last image, he was baiting us in with assholes to trap us into learning more about yokai.
Fun fact, I actually baited this audience with 2 assholes, and it's worked out really well so far.
4 if you count them all up.
Yeah, wait, what? Wait, come again?
Well, we had 3.
I'm sorry?
3 on the Kappa, 1 on the Shirame.
Oh,
4 assholes total. You thought you were counting us.
I thought it was 4 assholes between the 3 of us. I know there's.
I was calling you.
I was like, who's got the
both
second
of you
asshole?
assholes? I was calling you assholes, and you completely missed it. You were like, "Hold on, I need to do the math on this."
I never thought you'd say anything so rude.
2 buttholes, 3 buttholes. I'm rude as fuck all the time.
It's hard to keep up with these buttholes, man. I'm keeping tally over here.
Like he's got a diagram. It looks like Charlie from It's Always Sunny with the fucking board.
All between the buttholes.
That's good shit. Okay.
Welcome to Chaotic Underground, everybody.
100%. So some other fun facts, and this is where we get into a little bit of the darker side of Kappa. There's a lot of legends that show them as fun pranksters and cute creatures and things like that. But ultimately, Kappa are very crass and dangerous creatures.
They are out of buttholes, man. Like,
it's like, yeah, dude. Like,
nothing you told me about them yet has made me be like, oh, they seem pretty cool, friendly. Like,
so here's the thing: to continue a little bit of the friendly stuff. I'll kind of hit the bullet points here. They are intelligent creatures. They are capable of learning human language. They know a lot about medicine and particularly setting bones. It's sometimes told that humans learned about bone setting from Kappa.
Hell yeah!
That's where it originated from. Is they learned it from Kappa in Asia, and it passed through the world from that point on.
Wow.
That's also one of the benefits if you befriend a Kappa is they can give you good medicines and heal you. So that's one of those things.
Okay, so, I guess my main question is like, so they're mythical, they're Kappa, they're well known. What makes them the most well known Kappa? Because I haven't heard of them, but I think I actually heard inklings of the butthole demon before I even heard inklings of Kappa, other than the sushi roll. So
you're lying.
I think so. To be honest with you, why would I lie?
Like, where would you hear about the butthole demon? What kind of clubs are you going to,
dude? There's a weird counterculture here in Utah,
okay. Stop right there. I understand.
Yeah, it's weird.
I watched SLC Punk. I know how weird it is in that city.
Yeah, we're weird here. No, I guess
it is a good question.
Yeah,
like why are they so popular?
So it's because that they are a lot of times there's a lot of rivers and streams and things like that in Japan. So, like, just look at your usual anime and movies. There's always like a kind of like a stream bed or a river bed that characters are hanging around, training on, different shit like that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it was something that just that area was something that people dealt with a lot. I mean, and they had to be fair. Okay. Like I want to believe in Kappa. I actually love the idea of Kappa. But it also can be probably the explainer for, most of the drownings in an early period of history.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Imagine like, if a kid drowned, you're brokenhearted. You don't really want to, deal with the trauma of losing a child. And so it's like, it was a demon. A demon grabbed my son and pulled him to the bottom of the river.
And all he had to do was fart.
Yep, absolutely.
So, yeah.
What a coping mechanism.
It just shows that's how it started out as a demon, and then people start adding to the story, and next thing you know, they're farting at each other, and then they eat anus meat, and it's
as we've said about every topic, whether it be aliens or whether it be actual stuff that happened in history, or whether it be about demons, or whether it be about religion. Like, I think that's how everything in our culture, society over time works.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not naysaying it by any means. I just think it's fun to think of this story building, like people in their sake cups, like expanding on the lore of it, And
I just imagine someone like sitting in like a little inn, like tavern or whatever, and like accidentally like lets out some gas, and people are like, "Oh my god!" And he's like, "No, I'm practicing." Like, you've heard about these Kappa demons, right? Like these Kappa yokai. Like, they actually, if you can beat them in a fart duel, you win. So that's actually what happened there. Is I've been practicing in case I come upon one. And they were like, "Oh, add it to the lore." Bard, did you get that? You got that? Okay,
you get that?
Put that in the history.
That's right. We spend a lot of our time eating fermented soybean paste, and no, it's not that. I'm practicing my farts for Kappa.
Yes.
Okay.
Soybean paste, tapioca pudding.
I do find
you're really on the puns tonight.
Really,
I know, man. I'm in a weird mood. I don't know.
Clearly,
I'm in a weird mood.
You're like 100% in dad mode.
I'm your daddy.
You say dad mode. I say fast wit improv mode. Look,
sounds like Ryan jokes to me.
Hey, you know what? Groans are just as good as laughs. So
tell that to my previous girlfriends. So I think it's actually kind of interesting. I love the reaction. Like, there's no laughs, just like awkward stares.
We're in another episode.
I do find the idea of the Shiriki Kodama very interesting, because it essentially kind of feels sometimes like a cultural or religious way to keep people from questioning things or messing with things in some cases. Like, if someone asks you, where is your soul? It should be in a place you shouldn't be looking for it, like your ass. So, and if it is taken from you, if your soul is taken from you, it was by demons, and it was in this place that is forbidden. Only demons would travel there. And I know that sounds weird to talk about. Like, we had a lot of fun talking about buttholes for at least 2 episodes now, but it's actually interesting to me as the way like religions and organizations and just like normal like social constructs keep people behaving a certain way or believing certain things,
keeping stuff out of their buttholes.
Yeah, I
imagine there was like a small little wave of gayness that swept across Japan. They just had to get some kind of demon out there in the propaganda to keep them from stopping. I'm sure Cucumber came into that somehow, and that got woven into the story.
Well, and ultimately, I think on the note of like to plus one what you said, Stephen, is you're supposed to stay away from that area. That's why your soul's there, and they use it as a method of control, because I guarantee a lot of farmers and everything want people to stay out of their rivers and out of this, so they would just fabricate the Kappa as a security measure in a way, or as like almost like a scarecrow but with a story,
Yeah.
Well,
there were Kappa effigies used in a lot of cases. I mean, look, Kappa are depicted on "Please don't swim in the river, you may drown" signs, but in the past there were also Kappa effigies supposedly put up to scare people away from the riverbed. Because remember, in a early agricultural setting, the controlling a certain like water source and everything was also a means of power and and like respect in a community. So it's understandable that they could make up these stories about these creatures and what they do. I mean, like it widely varies, because here's what, like, we'll get back into what I was talking about. So in one hand, you have pranksters that fart in public, peek up women's kimonos, try to beat you in shogi and sumo. But on the flip side, you have demons that are very crass and dangerous. They have sharp teeth. They are amazing swimmers. And one of the most common ways that people would die from Kappa was they were drowned by the Kappa, dragged down to the bottom of the river, and then bitten until they die, bleeding out. Let alone trying to eat their asshole. But they didn't just do that. They ate the insides of people. They wanted innards from humans. So it's very common for that sort of thing to be happening. On one hand, you have these pranksters that you can blame your farts on. That you can't see, apparently. You know, if you're having a great year, you can say, "Oh yeah, my fields are being irrigated by Kappa. That's the reason I have more rice growing than you do." You can basically save face for your community members who aren't doing as well as you, which is like in a community based society like Japan has, like, because they're very much about the overall than individuals. So a lot of times there are situations where people will try to save the face of people around them. You know, it's one of those cases, like in their society, they have senpais and kohais, and you know, senpais are responsible for their kohais. So it's the same thing of, like, you know, ranking in our society is like you are responsible for the person below you, and so if they lose face, you lose face. So saving their face is just as important as saving your own. So I feel like that's a lot of where that comes from. You know, your kids are really sad and lonely. You can tell them, hey, there's an imaginary Kappa that you can play with near the river. There's a lot of things you can kind of explain in the Legend of Kappa that really match up to the same kind of way the Bible and other scriptures use parables. You know, like you know, basically, don't do this, do this. And you can put whatever boogeyman you want to, but it's there for that. I personally want to believe that there are weird butthole obsessed turtle pranksters in the river. That sounds like fun. I think my life would be a lot more interesting.
I do too. I want to believe, but talking about this just really makes me. If I can kind of go off script for a second, because we're totally on a script. I would say it's really interesting to think about when you think about this concept of the yokai, what we've been talking about for a few episodes of yokai now, and how it always ends up being something that kind of like teach a lesson, but also kind of keep people from doing something, whether it's being cheap or being whatever. And I think about, especially pre like modern technology, how hard over large swaths of land it was to like actually enforce laws. And so they kind of had to like weave propaganda, whether it be a spiritual thing or be a paranormal thing. And that this kept happening, right? I mean, when even in America, as the Wild West, a large part was Christianity to try to keep people in line, right? And it worked for the most part. You still had some outliers, of course, and then even today, like it's like, well, you don't want to do anything bad because everything you do is being tracked online, and whether that, I mean, for the most part, that is true. But even if it's not, it has people scared enough, but they pretty much watch what they do or say online outside of, outliers.
Yeah.
To where they think they're being watched. And it's like, I don't know. It's just a cool concept to think about how that's evolved like over millennia.
Yeah, absolutely. You got some input on this bad boy?
To be honest with you, Ryan kind of legit covered everything I was going to say. So thanks, Dick.
I can't help that we always think of things.
I know.
Same brain cell.
I know. We're bumpers on the same side of the bowling lane.
That explains all the gutter balls.
Stupid analogy. Shut up, Z.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, like, and I clearly would love, because of all the things we've talked about on the channel, the yokai, I think, have been the most, like, we've talked about the Giant of Kandahar, we've talked about DB Cooper, we've talked about But the yokai are. I don't know if I can 100% in full faith say I hope they exist. I don't, especially
there's
like
some freaky little dudes, man.
I don't know if I could be walking like I don't know if I could be like walking home from the bar one night and then all of a sudden a guy in a trench coat shows me his butthole and then runs away, and then I don't think it would sit well with me. I think that'd be a different bag of issues that I'd have to speak to my therapist about.
No. I would tell everybody the next day, like, that was the wildest experience I've had.
That was the biggest eyeball and butthole I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You always say you want the world to be a little bit more interesting. You said it every episode of Chaotic Underground. You're telling me if that didn't happen to you, you wouldn't be like, wow, the world is a lot more interesting now.
My eye has been opened.
I honestly think it would have the opposite effect. I think it's like, okay, I think the world needs to back off on the interest a little bit. It's a little too interesting now. I think it needs to pump its brakes a little bit. Shave about 30% off the top there, world.
So to kind of wrap this up in a nice little bow in terms of that stuff, one of the interesting things about that, and one of the things you need to consider when you're looking at yokai in particular, there are two things I kind of wanted to cover. One of those things is the Shinto religion actually believes most things have some kind of god or spirit attached to it. Mm-hmm. You know, foxes, mountains, you know, all kinds of different things.
Trees.
Literally, they're gods for certain areas and certain things. And so it's interesting that you say that about kind of law is hard to enforce in an area where it takes 3 days to get somewhere.
Right.
But if you convince everyone that a god of some sort has things to do with their crops, diseases, just in general, the weather, it's a lot easier to kind of keep that in check when you have something like a religion that tells you you're being watched by at least 70 gods at any given time that can all do something to you, or have an army of creatures and spirits to sick on you.
And the fact that this is all permeated somehow in every ancient culture, like, tells you, like, everybody was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, let's do that. Like,
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, I feel I'm gonna get so much heat for this, and you can choose to keep this in the episode or not. I feel like of all the religions, Christianity is the most white bread, boring paper plate, lame ass stories. Nothing's cool. Noah's Ark. I don't give a shit, dude. But you hear stories about these, like, all these ancient gods and everything, you know, Thor, and then just different cultures and different religions. Like, why couldn't, like, our main religion be something that I actually might be a bit more religious if I was wielding I was worshiping a hammer, dude.
I think if someone very creative, you know, if Mappa got a hold to the Bible and just made this amazing action anime out of it, I think we might see it in a different light. You know what I mean?
Yeah, make the Bible animated, then I'll be interested. It's actually been really cool because since we started the podcast, and now that we're getting into, like, deeper and deeper subjects, and how I now have this cornucopia of not useless, but just random knowledge that I am getting, not in trouble, but, like, people are just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Where I'll just bring up, like, I was at work the other week, or about like 2 weeks ago or so, and I was like, did you know that there's a Japanese ghost that wears a trench coat and sneaks up on you and shows you its butthole and then runs away into the bushes? And it's like, and my coworker's like, what the hell, man? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I appreciate you telling us these stories. Like, I love them. And we make a lot of jokes and everything. That's just the nature of the show and everything. Mm-hmm. But it's really, I genuinely find this stuff cool and interesting and everything.
It's really interesting to me as well, because there's a lot of elements of it. But for me, I actually find this a lot more logical than some other, like, kind of more Western monsters and things I've encountered. Ghosts, like, I know I'm sitting here saying I'm not really a big believer in ghosts, but I believe in, like, part-time invisible water frog turtle creatures. Ryan is smiling and laughing way too big over there. Why would you do, like, we're in the middle of an episode, man. Can't take this man anywhere. But to wrap up, yokai are fun. We're going to continue talking about yokai off and on throughout the year, and I fully intend to give you guys some more interesting things. I'd like to talk about basically things like Urashima Taro. We're going to be talking about
war.
The yokai war. We're going to be talking about the Tsuchigumo, which is actually an interesting thing. That you is it a demon or is it a racial slur? Who knows? But that's
not me.
Sounds like a Steven topic.
You shut up. You shut up. That's a Ryan topic. No, there's gonna be a lot of really interesting things coming down the line because spider demons, parades of demons that can steal you into another dimension. We're gonna be talking about the water palace underneath the sea.
Hate the water temple. Nick could never get past it.
I hated that temple too. I will be talking about Momotaro and so many different things that come along with yokai. There's a lot of Japanese legends that go with it, and I'm very excited to talk about it. I hope you guys really enjoyed our talk about Kappa this week, and I will also be completely honest and straightforward. I'm old and I don't understand slang, but it took a lot of work not to make a no cap joke here. So just pat me on the back, psychically. Or something. Thank you. I think
there you go. There you go.
Comforts guy with receding hairline. Got it. But yeah, it was a great time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed all the fun facts and all the fun jokes. And I look forward to more yokai in the future. So with that, I am done, fellas.
Thank you.
Make sure you combat anything that Steven said, whether it was racist or just unfactual, below in the comments. As well as if there's any particular Kappa you want to hear about or anything that piques your interest in this episode, make sure to check out our merch store, Chaotic Pubcast. We might have some yokai merch coming your way soon.
Yeah, like Ryan's been live making shirts this entire time.
This man can't focus.
Just name it ADHD the podcast.
It's true. It's very true. All right, guys, have a great night. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. We'll see you next time for Yokai Part 3.
Part 3.
Bye.
Night.